Another interim director has been removed from New Orleans leadership. This time, it's a woman who's been at the head of the New Orleans Recreation Department Commission since May. Jacqueline Quinn was at the TENS meeting tonight and joins us now with the details. Jackie.
Yeah, normally when you have an interim director, they stay on board until the new person comes along. However, that was not the case after this very tense meeting, as you mentioned today. And, again, this is a program that helps put on social programs for many people in the community. So this could be quite a shakeup. Former New Orleans Recreation Development Interim Director Maya Wyche was quiet after learning that she had been let go. The decision to terminate came after commissioners with NORD held an emergency meeting.
I'm making a motion at this time to terminate the employment of the interim CEO effective immediately.
Mayor LaToya Cantrell opened up the meeting explaining the search for a replacement had been underway for the past few months and had received close to 100 responses with 25 possible candidates as of current. Why Wyche had to be removed is unclear. The meeting went into executive session at Wyche's request. It's a right she has to discuss employment matters. In the audience, several came out to support Wyche.
We should give her a chance to do what she needs to do, because I feel that she is a fair person and she is knowledgeable of a whole lot of things that's going on in the NORD program.
Others spoke of some of the issues under her leadership, including state health violations at playgrounds.
23 violations.
A NORD employee spoke directly about communication and conflict resolution.
I had to email about a sexual assault that was on one of my site facilitators in my district over and over and over. So much so, she didn't want to speak to Ms. Wyche or Human Resources without me there.
Commissioners then voted.
Aye.
Aye.
6-2 in favor of removing Wyche. Afterwards, Mayor LaToya would not elaborate on details, saying only she supported the commission.
Well, the allegations, if you know me and my track record, we cannot stand for that type of environment in the city of New Orleans, and it's been demonstrated by actions that have been taken by me directly, and I do stand by the commission's vote.
And at the end of this, Wyche wasn't the only one that left NORD. Lindsay Lewis, a liaison with the commission, also resigned. Back to you guys.
Jacqueline, thank you.